all will have 15 minutes to present, and then the judges will have Q&A for 8 minutes after that. Okay? I will give you a 5-minute warning and a 1-minute warning.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Desperate mothers. It's becoming nearly impossible to find diapers in Venezuela. Over 3,000 bolivars to buy one package of diapers. Good morning, we are Carla, Mariana, Andrea, and Rita, and today we're going to present you Maxionet's case, business benefits and social goods meet a country in crisis. To start this complex entry model, we're going to start explaining the situation. The three main aspects Maxionets need to focus for this entry plan are the market opportunity, which involves trading relationship between the US and Venezuela, the need for basic goods in the Venezuelan market, and the low saturated market. Secondly, is the business model we are proposing based on strategic alliances with local associations and companies. Finally, the obstacles that Maxionet will have to face focus on the pricing strategy and the legal structure. Next up, my teammate Mariana will focus on the strategic focus and the marketing opportunities we found in this new market.
Thank you, Rita. So the strategic focus that Maxionet needs to get in order to enter the Venezuelan market effectively consists in three main points that are important to take into account. The first one is the trading relationship that the United States and Venezuela have nowadays. The United States represents 54.4% of the total imports in Venezuela according to TradeMap, thus being the main commercial partner, giving the Maxionet the opportunity to enter into the market, given that it's based in San Diego, California, and it also has headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. The second point to take into account is the need of basic goods. There is a huge shortage of not only food and clean water, but also medical products, including diapers, and there is a low saturated market, as we can see on the graph. There is a minus 49.1% of sales of diapers into the market, and it's not because companies do not want to sell diapers, but it's because people don't have the resources to get them. So it's an opportunity for Maxionet to get into the market, given that Kimberly-Clark had in 2016 an arbitration process against the Venezuelan government because of issues they had previously. So we have an opportunity to get into the market given the need of basic goods, such as diapers. Now, understanding the situation and these three main factors, my teammate Andrea is going to explain you the business model that we believe is suitable for the circumstances.
Thank you, Mariana. We suggest the company to make a non-equity strategic alliance. This is because this model combines two objectives with the company. Excuse me. Okay, I will start. Two companies alliance, and they have the same purpose. But the non-equity strategic alliance do not mix their assets. Our supplier is going to be Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble already is our diapers distributor in Bolivia. Also, they own the 69.1% in Venezuela's market with their brand Pampers, as passport information said. Let me introduce you to Water for Venezuela Foundation. This is a non-profit foundation recognized by the IRS. This foundation was founded by 4 Venezuelan women residing in Texas. They had a health program which covered 130 health centers in 14 states. We want to make events to raise money so we can buy the diapers and donate it to this foundation. Our corporate partner is going to be Farmacia SAS, which is the biggest pharmaceutical franchise in Venezuela with presence in 54 cities. Now, my teammate Carla is going to explain how we are going to do this.
Thanks, Andrea. Well, this action plan consists on building up a brand positioning strategy, mainly based on humanitarian focus and funding sources. This to allow an immediate acceptance in the local market, then later on will help us with a long-term brand stability. In order to do this, we are proposing the next timeline with the following steps. First up, it's necessary to reach an agreement with P&G, our provider, for a bulk distribution line in order to reduce packaging costs when accessing into Venezuela. Then, having a strong partnership with Cuatro por Venezuela because they have the know-how of distribution within the country in different states. Once we have an agreement with both organizations, we're going to launch several charity events such as marathons or concerts in the United States to get these funds. Once we have all this money, we're going to be purchasing the diapers directly from P&G with this bulk line, and then will be transported to Venezuela through Maxianet's supply chain. Once the products are already in Venezuela, Cuatro por Venezuela is going to be the main channel of distribution because they have access to 130 different hospitals, medical clinics, and health centers. So this way we're going to ensure that our product is going to be available for those in need. This is how we're going to have the immediate acceptance and also reaching one of our main goals, that is social work. But at the same time, we're going to be having a quick and effective response from the local market that later on it's going to be helping us for our long-term objectives. Now, the next phase consists of a long-term brand stability process. We want to work together with P&G and Farmacias SAS to reach a profitable line of the market. One of our main points of this whole action plan is the marketing strategy. This strategy is consists on making a marketing campaign in the most important Latin American markets in which Maxianet has presence along with P&G, such as Mexico and Ecuador. This campaign is going to promote the willingness of Maxianet to actively help Venezuela by assigning a percentage of its profits in the region directly to the supply chain that is going to deliver the products to Venezuela. This to reduce the logistic costs of the logistics in entering Venezuela, so we can sell it at a lower price. Once the diapers are in Venezuela, Farmacia SAS is going to be the one purchasing the product directly from Maxianet, considering a low profit margin, but also it's assuring the company that the distribution is going to be to a great percentage of the market. This is how we're going to get long-term relationships, specifically with the country, because at the moment we would be one of the best options available for them. As a last step, we are proposing to keep a partnership with the different organizations in order to maintain the presence in Venezuela and also to start planning future projects that may include different product lines. This whole plan is going to help P&G gain a great percentage of the market in Venezuela, and at the same time we're giving the opportunity to Farmacias SAS to improve their liquidity, because we're going to be potentializing its sales and popularity among the locals. But most importantly, we're going to be helping the population have access to one of the most important products for childcare. We are aware of the importance for a low and accessible price for this product, and this is why my teammate Rita is going to explain the pricing strategy.
Thank you, Carla. The pricing strategy we are suggesting for Maxionet is a cost-plus pricing. This strategy consists on totaling the cost of the product and then adding the percentage of the profit margin the company wants to earn. There are two main reasons why we chose this strategy. The first one is because there's hyperinflation in Venezuela, so customers aren't buying value, but they are driven by prices and costs. Secondly, there's a fair price law in which the company states the fixed prices, and it also states that a company can't earn more than the 30% of the total cost of the product. The main cost that we found for Maxionet in this internationalization are the transport cost, which will account more or less for $4,600 per 1 40-feet container. Another important cost are the insurance cost, the taxes, and the customs fee. To mitigate this cost, we found two strategies. The first one is the internal strategy. Carla mentioned it earlier before. The first one is to allocate a fixed percentage of the profit margins of other products in other markets for funding the logistic cost and reducing our cost to go to Venezuela. The second one is an external funding strategy. There are some international development banks that work with companies that want to do business in Venezuela. One of these banks is the Inter-American Development Bank and the Andean Development Corporation. These banks provide consultancy and funding for these kind of projects. And we also found some foundations who help companies who are non-profit organizations but want to do humanitarian help, such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Next up, my teammate Mariana will talk about the value proposition we found for Maxionet in this new market.
Thank you, Rita. Knowing the what, the why, who, and how, now we can find out the value proposition that Maxionet can bring into the Venezuelan market. So as I mentioned before, Maxionet has its headquarters in San Diego, California, but it also has its headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela, just as you can see on the figure. And it has had transactions during 14 years already, not only in food and beverage sector, but also in beauty and hygiene, which helps to understand better how the market behaves and how we can get into the diapers market. With this, having in mind, we can say that Maxionet is going to bring a value proposition, as my teammate Carla mentioned before, because we are going to help not only philanthropic foundations, but also a Farmacia SAS, which is like a corporate partner that wants to get fame and popularity among the Venezuelan market, and mainly, as she mentioned, the population that really needs these products. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you. So judges, you have 8 minutes.
First question I have would be, why would Maxionet partner with P&G, who already controls a lot of the market? Wouldn't Procter & Gamble just expand their distribution to make more profit?
We actually want to offer Procter & Gamble, Maxionet, the easiness of distributing their products, as Venezuela is a really difficult market and they're not in all the states. That's why we also propose to go with the SAS pharmacies, because they already have established distribution networks. So it's like an added value that Maxionet can offer Procter & Gamble.
Can you talk a bit about P&G's current market share with Pampers in Venezuela, if there's been any kind of analysis on market shares, and what brands are currently being offered, diaper brands, through Farmacia SAS?
Currently, Farmacia SAS is offering its own brand, because that's what pharmacies are doing nowadays. They are producing their own brands in lower prices, and Pampers are being distributed as well. There is like a small amount of Huggies, but as I mentioned, Kimberly-Clark is not interested in to get into the market anymore, given the arbitration process that they previously had. And the Pampers production line that we are suggesting to get is the most simple one, without any kind of designs, because the customers are not really interested in how the diaper looks. Mm-hmm. They just want the practicity that it is to have the Pampers diaper, and they have already had it in the past. And as we mentioned, Maxinet has already wrote it to Bolivia, which we believe that you already know how to get in these transactions between the United States and a Latin American country.
So do you know their current market share in
Yeah,
Venezuela?
We actually have a graph. Here is the share of per company. Procter & Gamble has 69.1% of the market share, and then Industrias Corpeñal has 15.1%, and Farmatodo, which is another pharmaceutical company, has 2.6%.
Okay.
Which of the SAS, is that the,
Mm-hmm.
are they located on there?
No, they're not here.
Others are the other pharmacies that are producing their own diapers, and that's where SAS enters.
What we saw is that even though the pharmacies are creating their own brands, for Venezuelan consumers, American brands means quality, so they rather buy the American brands than the Venezuelan brands.
So what's currently Procter & Gamble's distribution strategy in Venezuela?
I think right now, they used to have their own factory there, but they had to withdraw due to the raw material shortage.
Mhm.
So I think right now they're just distributing with their own distribution system in the country.
Okay. Through the Inter-American Development Bank that you mentioned as a donor partner, did you identify any specific funds for Venezuela, or was that just a more general approach?
What we saw is that you have to propose the project to the bank, and then the bank decides if they want to fund it, and they also give you consultancy to see how you can export or how to do it better. So yeah, you go with your idea and your project, and they see if they grant you a loan or just a grant, like not a loan.
And as well, they have a project already with clean water, which it goes by hand with this diapers distribution, given that, well, one of the main ideas was deciding between clothes and disposable diapers. We chose disposable diapers because it's easier to bring them to the country, having a sustainable concept in the future, and also because there is no clean water to clean these diapers.
Mm-hmm.
So having this argument with this bank that will help the development of this project, they will actually understand and be willing to help Maxinet.
You showed a graph, I think, on logistics and the cost. I was curious how you came up with the amount of diapers per container.
We actually looked up online for a company who does puts all the merchandise in containers, and according to the volume of the diapers and the size of the container, this is the approximate amount of diapers that can fit one container. And as Carla mentioned, we want to sell bulk packages of diapers.
Okay.
Which will reduce the cost of the packaging, and that will allow us to offer the product in a lower price than how it is already.
How big on the bulk? Like,
240.
240 each package.
so then how would that currently transition to retail price if you're branding back to a smaller package?
The bulk is mainly for the donation. So this is why Water por Venezuela is going to distribute the different bulk packages for the different hospitals. But we're also planning on, not specifically like a bulk for the retail centers, we're planning on having smaller packages for farmacias.
And that's what we wanted. That we saw that a lot of people live by the day, so some mom can't buy a 9-package diaper for her baby, so we want them to have the option to buy just one diaper if they need it.
Based off of that, how do you have fixed pricing if there's inflation or changing the different packages because the ROI won't match with the profitability?
For the pricing, what we thought, well, to reduce the transportation cost was the internal funding, which was just use the revenues from other markets and other products to help fight this volatile market and this different, because one day the government says, okay, the price is this one, and the next day it says another one, so to have that like margin for loss and profit.
So I'd like to talk a little bit more about P&G's distribution strategy currently in Venezuela. So you mentioned earlier that they've had some trouble expanding into new states throughout Venezuela to perhaps increase their market share. One of the ways you mentioned to address that is by reducing the package size. Have you put a little bit of thought into the pricing strategy of what those smaller package sizes would look like? And how many units would be in a package, et cetera, and how that would compete with the existing SKUs that Procter & Gamble already distributes in Venezuela? Would there be a price comparison there, or would it be significantly lower? How do you address that?
We are aware that due to legal and political measures, we cannot have like a really lower price. It has to be like quite competitive. So we were planning on, depending also, as Rita said, each day the prices are quite changing. Actually, we look up for some prices and we identified that some of them were changed like 18 hours previously. So we have to adjust to these to the prices that the government will settle. So that's why it's basically a long-term profitable plan, because at the beginning we're aware that we're not going to be getting as much profit as we want because we have to adjust to what the government says. So that's why we're not having like a specific price, but it's going to be quite competitive regarding the other brands.
All right, so that's time for us. So thank you for presenting.
Thank you.
Thank you.